Hi there, this is Dr. Jewa Lea with, no, not a lesson today. I'm actually premiering my book, Cor Perfectum. I launched it on in the end of October. And I've been working on this book since 2012, believe it or not, and finally released it. Cor Perfectum, What You Don't Know About Your Heart May Be Killing Your Life, is a book that came about in response to a lecture that I did in Las Vegas at a convention in Las Vegas. And at the end of that lecture, I was approached by two individuals and was told, you know, this lecture material needs to be put in a book because what you've done is bridge science and spirituality in a way that we never heard of it before. And we think it's a great idea that you would put this in one place so people can find it. So when I started this whole thing back, actually in 2011, is when the idea for the material came in. Oh, Taya, you got your copy? Great. So when I started putting this together in 2011, the lecture was in 2012, I didn't want to write all the technical, weird, stuff, medical stuff that is out there about the heart. I wanted to talk about things that most people don't even understand about the heart. And in my research, there's so much about the heart that we just, as normal everyday people, don't even understand that's going on. Most of the time when you ask people what things do they know about the heart, they say, oh, it has 4 chambers, it pumps blood through the body, it makes a heartbeat, and beyond that, very little else is known about what the heart actually does. And so the heart itself is an entity, not a muscle. And so physically, it's not even pumping blood through the body because anatomically or even with normal physics, it's just impossible, and it'd be an impossible task for its size and how it's constructed to be a pump. What the heart actually is a vortex accelerator, decelerator. And vortex, just like when you think about hurricanes or tornadoes, we have a vortex going on throughout our body in the form of how the blood circulates through our body. Our blood circulates in a vortex. And our heart is engineered in a way so that it takes the vortex and then reverses it and sends it back through the lungs and then sends it back through the rest of our bodies. So if you could just imagine the force or the power that's necessary to change a vortex on the dime and spin it in a different direction. Just think about a tornado or water going down the drain or a hurricane. The force that would be needed to stop it in its tracks and then reverse it so that it's going in the opposite direction. That's a lot of force. And that's just one of many things that the heart does. And that's just on a physical level. There's so many things that the heart does on a level that we cannot see with our physical eyes. And poets and mystics and sages throughout the centuries have been speaking of this, but now science has finally caught up and has instrumentation that can measure these things in the form of quantum physics. So the heart is an interesting and very complex thing. And my book released last month, and as Taya has pointed out, it's #1 bestseller in many categories. #1 new release in mind-body connection, #1 new release in energy healing, and a couple of other categories that I can't think of right now. So heart disease is the #1 killer of people in the Western world. And it has nothing to do with diet. It does have nothing to do with the lack of exercise, but it has a lot to do with how we operate in our daily lives as far as consciousness is concerned. And the heart plays a major role in how we feel and how we connect with the spiritual realms. So our consciousness, or lack thereof, is the cause of heart disease. And to sum it up, but get the book. It really talks about it in here. There are 7 chapters. The first one is called Let's Get Physical, which talks about the physical properties of the heart. The second chapter is called Heart Communication. The heart communicates in 4 different ways. Then the third chapter is Sacra Cor, talking about the sacred properties of the heart. Chapter 4 is Sacred Geometry, Numerology, and the Heart. There is sacred geometry in the construction of the heart and numerology surrounding how many days it takes for the heart to form, and the layers of the heart and the chambers of the heart, and how it sits in our chest also is related to sacred geometry. So chapter 5 is the identification problem. Chapter 6 is the primary relationship. And then finally, chapter 7 talks about heart yoga. And heart yoga is just exercises that you can do to be in more alignment with your heart and more alignment with the unseen realms that make up the person that is you. And your heart is the gateway to that. So, Cor Perfectum, it bridges the spiritual and scientific findings about the heart, puts it in one place so that you can learn more about it. I encourage you to go out to get it, not because I wrote it, but because the information is really pertinent today. We are finding out that how we think and what we think and how we hold ourselves and how we identify ourselves is playing a major role in the quality of life that we have. So thank you for joining me and helping me introduce my book. And you can find it on Amazon.com. The link is in the comments or in the description below. Taya got her copy, and I encourage you to get your copy as well. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.